I wanted to hop on here really quick and talk about astrology making people feel like puppets. So, a lot of people feel like, okay, so all of this is happening astrologically. And so it's going to make me act in a certain way, or it's going to make me feel a certain way. It's going to make me think a certain way. So I wanted to unpack this topic because I know not everyone feels like they're a puppet to astrology or feel in some way like they don't have control over the astrology transits. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have control over the astrology transits. We do have control over our own free will, right? To work with the astrology transits in a way that actually supports us versus knocks us down, right? So there's always that choice. And so one of the reasons why I think it's powerful to know what's happening astrologically on any given day is because then we have a moment to make a conscious choice about how we want to work with that energy. And so if we have a moment and we use it in that way, and we're like, oh, yeah, Mercury is squaring Uranus today. So I'm giving today's example, right? So Mercury in the sign of Aquarius is squaring Uranus, a planet that just went direct last night in the sign of Taurus. They're forming a fixed square because they're both fixed signs. Now, them both being fixed signs definitely indicates that they both kind of have a certain way and they like to stay in that way. And at the same time, because Uranus does want change and does want us to progress and does want um, movement, this square, right, between Mercury, how we communicate, and Uranus, let me shake that up and bring an even more progressive approach to it, right? Let me help you think in a more evolved way. This is an aspect, Uranus squaring Mercury. It's an aspect that helps us become enlightened in our day, right? It helps us see things in a new way because we're going along thinking in the way that we're used to thinking, right? So Mercury in Aquarius is already sort of a progressive thinker. It's already sort of this cutting edge genius thinker, right? Mercury is exalted in Aquarius. It does really well there. And so you can take that and have it be squaring this Uranus and Taurus, right? Uranus is one of the rulers of Aquarius. And so already there's a theme, there's a connection there, right? Because we have Mercury in Aquarius squaring the planet that co rules Aquarius. So there's already this sort of genius energy in the air, right? And so everything has a spectrum. There's genius and brilliance over here, and then there's bonkers and crazy over here, and there are two sides of the same coin, the same energy. And so I think if we can acknowledge, okay, I have a conscious choice today to either allow my thoughts to get to a brilliant point or to allow my thoughts to get to a crazy bonkers point, right? That's the beauty of our free will in astrology. And the more we're working with the planets, the more we're acknowledging what the planets are doing and how we are engaging with them, right? Because our astrology chart is an energy blueprint that is always engaging with the astrology chart that's happening now, the transiting one. And so that relationship and how we consistently start to choose how to engage that relationship, how we become conscious of that relationship, that our energy is always working with the energy at hand, right? And so that includes the people at hand, the situations at hand, the experiences at hand, everything that is at hand. We get to decide how we want to engage in that energy. And the more that we choose to engage consciously, the easier it is to harness our energy in a way that is actually helpful for us, that is actually going to help us move something forward in our lives. When you start this process, especially if you haven't really been doing it before, there's definitely a transitional period, right? Because if you start the process and it feels hard to choose engaging my mind in more of a brilliant, insightful way versus allowing myself to go into a chaotic spiral in my mind, right? I'm using today's Mercury Uranus square as an example. And so there's different things that are happening each day astrologically, and we get to choose how to engage. We get to choose how we want to use that energy, right? There is a shadow aspect and a light aspect to every single planet, sign, and the aspects they make to each other. And so again, we get to choose. And so I want to leave you with that and hope that you'll use today's square, right? Knowing that a square represents friction, right? Now, we have to know what to do with friction, right? When there's friction, what do we do with friction? We have to apply some sort of a lubrication to that friction in order for it to work. And so when you have how we communicate squaring with the planet that always wants to bring in divine insight and futuristic thinking, we have to apply openness as the lubrication. We have to be open to that new idea, to that new insight, to that new way of thinking about something, right? So maybe there's something that you're used to thinking about in a certain way. And today you're presented with, yep, I'm used to thinking about it in this way. I'm used to thinking about it in this way. I'm used to, freaking out about this. But wait, I actually have a choice to reach for something different, right? And so that's what this is about. That's what this conscious choice to engage with the astrology transits is really about. So thank you for being here with me and entertaining my thoughts on astrology puppets, because we are not puppets. We are consciously choosing stuffies. Okay, thanks so much.